Let's see. I think it's time we just get started. My sound has been acting up all day. I am really trying here to get the audio fixed. I can't get any of the music working. I can't get any of the pictures up. My mic wasn't working. I think it might be now. Let me know if you can hear me in the live chat. Okay, good. So Dark Prince Izor, you can hear me. Kelby couldn't. Okay. All right, we're good, right? Everyone can hear me. So we're not going to have music or fancy transitions or graphics today. But I'm glad you're here anyway. It's time for the Morning Meowncements. The Morning Meowncements on the Nightcap with Nightcat YouTube channel. This is the live morning show we do every day here on YouTube. It's always very, very fun. I am your host, Nightcat. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff in the Morning Mews. I'm going to get you caught up on the pop culture headlines. And then we're going to check in on the caterpillars. I think some of you already saw that there's a little bit of a surprise in there. But before we get into any of that, I actually had somebody, and I wish I had written their name down. I am a mess this morning. But somebody asked on the Nightcap with Nightcat episode 14, which just dropped Wednesday, in the comments, if we could do a tattoo show and tell. And I thought that that would be pretty fun. So, why don't we just do that then? So, I'm only going to do the ones up here because they're the easiest to find. There's one on my calf as well that maybe we'll talk about on another day. But this one here is my... Let me make sure I can see what I'm doing here. This one here is my Harry Potter tattoo. So, I got this... I thought about it for a really long time. And I really wanted something that was just simple and clean and subtle. And everyone already had the Deathly Hallows. So I thought that this would be so fun. It's the glasses and the scar. I got it for my 24th birthday. That was my birthday present to myself. And honestly, it's been so helpful in weeding out the people that I don't want around me. Because if people walk up to me and they're like, oh, look at that bike. Are you a big cyclist? I'm like, get out. You're not worthy. You're not worth talking to any longer. A bike. So they think this is a little person and they think these are the wheels. It's ridiculous. So that is my Harry Potter one. I got it on my 24th birthday. I will tell you that when I got this one, the tattoo artist was like, I gotta tell you, the two hardest things for tattoo artists are perfectly round circles and perfectly straight lines. And this tattoo is nothing but perfectly straight circles and perfectly round circles and perfectly straight lines. So I think he did a pretty good job, though. And then this one I got, this is a gator. Alligators are my favorite animal. And I was looking for something for my 26th birthday. I was out in Austin with some buddies of mine, Austin, Texas. And we were just walking up and down the street and I saw a tattoo shop. I'm like, I've always wanted a gator tattoo. So I just went in and did it. It was also one of my favorite birthday presents that I've ever given myself. Just a little gator on my inner arm with my lunch lady arms. Hello. Yeah, so cute. Oh, I love that gator. And then right here, I don't know if this one's going to be able to see so well. So this is a tattoo. It's the number 328. This was actually my first ever tattoo. This is something that I got when I got off of Biggest Loser. Because the thing is about coming off of something like that, you are in a situation where all you do all day long is exercise and eat well. And you get used to seeing double-digit losses like every week or every other week. And when you get home, that stops happening because you can't work. That's not sustainable. That's not a lifestyle. So your weight fluctuates. And the thing about losing weight too is the faster you lose weight, the faster your body wants to put it back on. Your body is not in the business of losing weight because it's trying to survive. It's like, okay, well, we have excess calories. That's great. We'll save this up for the winter. The problem is I don't need any more for the winter. Thanks, body. But the faster you lose it, the faster it'll try to gain it back because you aren't supposed to be that small in your brain's in your own mind, basically. And so I had a lot of really hard times reconciling that. I had a hard time when I got home telling myself that, hey, stop weighing yourself, stop worrying about a 5-pound gain, stop worrying about a 10-pound loss, like whatever it is. You gotta stop stressing out so much about it, man. Regardless of where you're at, you're not where you were. My starting weight on the show was 328 pounds. And I have never reached there. In the years since, it's been, what, 8 years? It'll be 9 this year since I filmed. In the 9 years since I filmed, I haven't hit 328 pounds again. And even though I've gotten close sometimes, like, that's such a victory for me. And this is just, for me, something that I got to help remind myself that it is fine. Like, you think about how far you've come, think about where you want to go, and don't let a small obstacle eclipse what overall has been, you know, a really hard thing to do, but I've managed to do it anyway. So that's the whole story and secret behind this chest tattoo. I think you folks already know about this one. The Area 51 tattoo. It's the UFO with the cow getting sucked up. I got that one in Area 51 when I stormed it. I actually talked about that in Nightcat Classic Tales. So if you go to the Nightcap with Nightcat YouTube channel and you look for the Nightcat Classic Tales playlist, go look for the UFO one. I won't tell you that whole story again on the live, but it's also a good one. And then the last one I have on my upper body is right here. Now this one is very significant to me personally. There was a gal here in Salt Lake City who was doing a fundraiser. She was a tattoo artist. This was just a couple of days after the Pulse nightclub shooting, which until the Vegas shooting was the largest mass shooting in U.S. history. It happened at Latino night at a gay club, and the targets were very specifically murdered because they were gay. And it was horrifying. It was so scary because, I mean, like when I was growing up and first going out and going to clubs and stuff, my mom very specifically asked me not to go out, told me not to go out at night because there was a string of gay bashings. And I told her she was being ridiculous and that everything was going to be fine. And then that happened, and it really put it into perspective. Like, that could have been any gay club in any city, in any state. It doesn't have to be in Orlando. And I don't know, it was just so scary and so eye-opening. So this gal in Salt Lake was doing these tattoos as a fundraiser. They were $50. She was like, I'm donating the ink and the needles. Just give me $50. And then she sent it all to some GoFundMes to help cover funeral expenses for the Pulse nightclub shooters. Or for the Pulse nightclub victims, rather. It was, I don't know. I got it somewhere that is pretty prominent. Like, even when I wear long sleeves, sometimes they'll write up and it'll show. And that was intentional because I want, if people ask about it, to be able to tell them why it's significant. And I want to be able to explain to them that even though we've come a long way with LGBT rights, queer people, especially trans people, and especially trans people of color, are being injured or murdered or assaulted at much higher rates than a lot of other minority populations. So anyway, those are my show and tell tattoos. Those are everything. Some of them are more of a bummer than others. But yeah, I always want more. I'll tell you what. That's the thing about tattoos. You get one and then you're like, I want 100 now. Thank you. All right, let's move on then to the Morning Mews. I don't know if this will do it for us. Nope, no music. Okay. We'll just keep doing it anyway. New music today from Taylor Swift. She has finally dropped her Fearless Taylor's version. You can find it on Spotify. I was listening to it this morning, and a lot of it sounds just like Fearless. But there are new songs on there. It's a whole new recording. If you don't remember, this is in response to Scooter Braun buying Big Machine Records, which was Taylor's old record company. Scooter Braun, who manages Kanye West, who is the worst human being, and also not a fan of Taylor's and has done nasty things to Taylor. So Scooter bought the record company. She tried to buy her master albums back from him and just say, look, you guys can do whatever you want with that company. I don't care. I just want my music back. And they told her no. So she's re-recording and re-releasing, and she dropped new songs on the album that weren't on it initially. There's all sorts of stuff. It's good. If you loved Fearless, you're going to love this, obviously. Okay, news coming out of Buckingham Palace. Prince Philip has died at the age of 99. He was Queen Elizabeth's husband, not the king. I still don't understand how that worked out. But, yeah. I should look that up, actually, now that I think about it. I should go find out why Prince Philip was never the king. I'm sure there's a reason that I don't know about. But Prince Philip, he's dead. I don't know the specifics surrounding his death. I'm assuming it was because he was 99. And actually, that's just the number they put on paper, because he was actually 499. He looked like Nosferatu. He just looked bad in his later years, man. I think they were keeping him on well past his expiration date, which I know is a horrible thing to say about someone who's recently passed away, but also I don't care about the British monarchy in the slightest. I want that whole system torn apart, quite frankly, especially after what Meghan had to say about that family. Ugh, no, I want them done for. I want the Queen to have to work at a Burger King to get by. That's how much I hope they lose everything. If you like Prince Philip, I'm very sorry, but if you like Meghan Markle, this is probably not the worst day. That's terrible to say. I don't care. All right, January Jones. She was the star of Mad Men, as well as Last Man on Earth, starring Will Forte, which, if you haven't watched yet, hilarious. Because it's like, what if the worst cases of coronavirus had happened? Because it was actually made well before our pandemic, but it centers around a virus that wipes out the population of the world except for Will Forte, and then you find out there are other people around, like January Jones. It's a good show. Go watch it. But January Jones' dog was bitten by a rattlesnake while they were out for a hike. She says that she was able to catch and release the snake, but her dog is still in the hospital. She's asking for everyone to pray and make sure that the dog is okay. And here's what I'm going to say, though. This is really common. And as things warm up here in Utah, I think sometimes we forget about our little doggies. We like to take them up on the hiking, and they love to run. And I don't blame you for letting them go out and run. But if you're going to do that, just remember that Utah has a lot of rattlesnakes. We have a ton of rattlesnakes, and your dog could very easily just step on one or try to pick it up and bring it to you or whatever. And that's how they end up getting bit and they end up dying. So there are a couple things that I want to remind you of. Number one, there is a rattlesnake vaccine for your dog. So call your vet, see if it's something that your dog is eligible for, and you can get a rattlesnake vaccine that will help your dog build some antibodies to rattlesnake venom. So that's really cool. I would recommend getting the rattlesnake vaccine. Another thing that I like, I have a couple of friends actually who run some rattlesnake avoidance classes. One of the websites that you can go to and look up these rattlesnake avoidance classes is UtahRattlesnakeAvoidance.com. I know, it's a long website. UtahRattlesnakeAvoidance.com. What they do is they take your dog around live rattlesnakes and then they teach them to leave them alone. So they're like, we teach them based on the smell and the sound. If you smell this smell and you hear this sound, you need to get away. And that way, when the dogs are out on their own, if they hear the rattle or they smell the snake, they know to get away from that area as quick as possible. So rattlesnake vaccine as well as rattlesnake avoidance classes are a really, really good idea if you're going to be taking your dog out hiking, which of course everyone wants to. It's Utah in the spring. We all got to take our dogs hiking, right? I also want to mention real quick that if you see a rattlesnake, killing snakes in Utah is illegal. It is referred to as wanton destruction of wildlife, and it can come with a fine. Snakes are really important to our ecosystem. They make sure that they keep pests in control, and keeping those pests under control is what helps keep diseases from spreading and stuff like that. So it's a good idea to keep your snakes right where they are. Just appreciate them from a distance or run away from them, whatever you got to do. Just don't harm them. If you are looking for someone to come and remove a rattlesnake, there are also rattlesnake removal services that will come and do it. Just a quick Google. So rattlesnake vaccine, rattlesnake avoidance classes, as well as your rattlesnake removal in case you come across one. Alrighty. Blink-182's Travis Barker. Travis, well, he's a Kardashian now. He's been dating Kourtney Kardashian. They went public in January, though from what I understand, he's actually been a really close family friend for a long time, so they've known each other for a while. Well, he's got himself a new tattoo. Right above his left nerp, he has the name Kourtney tattooed. And it is definitely Kourtney Kardashian. It is Kourtney with a K. I just feel like 2 months is so early. 2 months... 3 months, 3 months now, I guess. God, what year is it? Where am I? 3 months is so early. You don't know someone after 3 months. You're probably still holding in your farts around them, bud. I wouldn't go get a tattoo of that person's name on me, especially with the track record that the Kardashians have. I mean, I'm not gonna trash them or anything, but, because I don't know their situations, but they don't stay, married very often. So, I just think it's bold. I just think it's bold to put something permanent on your body for a family that doesn't seem very permanent to me. But that's just crazy old me spouting my nonsense. Disneyland has finally announced an opening day for their Avengers campus. So, we already know they have, the Cars world and the Star Wars world. We've been waiting for the Avengers campus. The day is coming June 4th. Very, very quickly. It will include a new Spider-Man ride, which stars Tom Holland. It sounds great. These little spider bots are taking over the park, and you're supposed to get in there and help shoot them and stuff. It sounds really cool. I would be into that. Also opening is the Pym Test Kitchen. So, Disneyland, world famous for their foods. They have this new Pym Test Kitchen where they're going to make Avengers-inspired meals in there. And they're going to be amazing. So again, that opens up June 4th if you're looking to get into Disneyland. I would probably do it before June 4th, quite frankly, because once that Avengers campus opens, it's going to be packed all the time, assuming that they're allowed to pack it. And finally, police in Germany are asking citizens for help after 25 macaque monkeys escaped from the zoo. So I guess there was construction at this zoo, and somehow the construction workers left a gate open or something, and the monkeys all barreled out of there. They took off, they ran, and they just started wreaking havoc across the city. Now, zookeepers did try to catch them, but all initial efforts to catch the monkeys has been completely in vain. So the police department has issued a warning to citizens, like, hey, just so you know, macaque monkeys are really nervous. They're not really a risk to you. But still, don't try to catch one. If you see one, report it to the police. We'll get the zookeepers out here. We'll try to track them down. So their whole town... I like to believe that this is just one big publicity stunt for Godzilla versus King Kong. And some town in Australia is going to let loose 1,000 lizards. But I don't know what I would do if I saw a monkey. Because I'd be so torn between calling the cops and then throwing a pillowcase over him and taking him up to my room and not telling anyone that I now have a monkey. Thank you so much. And that is the Morning Mews. Before we continue, I would like to plug our Patreon. Patreon.com/NightCatShow. Patreon's an awesome service where you can help support your favorite artists. This show is a lot of fun. I love doing it, but the only reason I'm allowed to do it this way is because of the support from my patrons. Patreon.com/NightCatShow. Donate $3 or $5 or more if you want, but $3 or $5 are the tiers that I have. The best part about becoming a patron is that you get the Curiosity Killed Nightcat episodes 1 week before anyone else does. So those are the true crime episodes. They drop every Friday. Today. Thank you. And you get each episode a week before. So, for example, episode 2 of the Curiosity Killed Nightcat podcast dropped today. And episode 3 dropped on Patreon. So episode 2, anyone can find it on your favorite podcast directory. Look for the Nightcat Radio podcast. It'll be in there. But anybody should be able to track down the episode 2. Only the patrons, however, have access to that episode 3, and that's exclusively on Patreon. So if you are a patron, episode 3 will be sitting there in the feed right now. Just visit patreon.com/NightCatShow. Let's quickly check in on the chat, see how everyone's doing. King is a good morning. Let's see. Good morning, Marissa. Dark Prince Sizor. Kelby. Marsha. Erica. Marissa. Doggone T. Wow, there's so many. Good morning. Oh, yeah. Doggone T. I don't own a scale, dude. Scales. No. Not for me, man. Here's my whole thing. I like, I mean, maybe we'll do a whole thing about weight loss and my philosophy and my theories behind it, because I have a lot to say from years of being fat and years of going through diets and rehabs and fat camp and The Biggest Loser. I have so many opinions about this, but I'll tell you, I also do not own a scale, and I won't, because the scale so much affects your scale weight. If you're injured, your injury will hold on to water, which will affect your scale weight. If you ate a salty meal, your body will retain water, which will affect your scale weight. If you don't eat anything for a while, you'll lose all your water weight, which will affect your scale weight, but as soon as you start eating again, it comes right back on. The scale, I think, is the worst determiner for health. I really do, man. I really focus on just eating well and getting my exercise in. If I can do all the things that I want to do without getting winded, and listen, I am active. I'm a fast walker. If I get winded or anything, I know I need to pick it up, you know? It hasn't happened for a while, thank God. But as long as I'm eating well and I'm moving my body, I don't care. You know what I mean? It was a real shift in perspective for me, because for so long I thought like I had to either work on my body and improve it and make it incredible, or I just had to deal with people not liking me. And I'm just like, that's the dumbest thing in the entire world. That's such a terrible idea, man. I stopped giving a crap about what anyone thought, and I started only working for myself. And I started finally getting a handle on my weight only because I did the mental work around it. I stopped shaming myself for having bad days. I stopped shaming myself for eating something bad. I stopped shaming myself for not going to the gym sometimes or not going on a walk sometimes. And really all I focus on is eating my healthy meals, getting my veggies in, reducing the sugars and the carbs, and going for my walks every day. That's what I do, and it has worked for me. And it's a way for me to stay healthy and happy. And am I a size, this big around? No. Am I ever going to look like Chris Hemsworth? No. No one does. It's fine. I'm just a dude. I'm an average dude. I'm a pudgy dude. And I am cute as hell, all right? That's all I'm saying, man. It's scale weight ridiculous. Meredith. Oh, thank you, Meredith. King apparently is a higher rank than Queen, and Prince Philip was not in the direct bloodline, so he could not outrank Queen Elizabeth II. That's good to know. Thank you. Fun fact. That's a fun fact for Meredith. There was not a morning announcements on Wednesday. I needed a day to chill. Thank you for that, Shelby. Sadie, I love snakes. They're great. They're a little scary sometimes. I used to work with some real cranky guys, but I still think they're so cute. All right. Well, now that I've said hi to everyone in the chat, I think it's time then for us to get into the book of useless information. Yesterday I told you some crazy animal facts from this book, and I wanted to give you some more weird animal facts from this book. I think it's just so fun. So, the slingback lizard in Australia, and again, I had a picture of this, but I can't get any of my pictures to work. So go Google it. The slingback lizard of Australia has a thick, short, rounded tail, which you think is kind of counterintuitive, because a lot of lizards, you're able to grab their tail and they drop them, run away, and they can regrow them. But actually, that's not super great for a lot of lizards. A lot of lizards actually can't shed their tail at all. And the ones that can, it is like a last-ditch effort, because losing your tail is like losing a huge limb, and you might not survive it. So losing their tail is literally just anything I can do to survive this attack and get by. So you'd think that they would need nice long tails to, chop off and get away. But this guy has a short, stumpy one that's shaped just like his head. That way, if predators go for his head, they're probably going for his tail, and he still has time to escape. Isn't that cool? Pretty cool. Go Google it. All right, we already talked about macaque monkeys today because 25 macaque monkeys escaped from a German zoo, but did you know that the Japanese macaque monkey is rare in that it loves cold weather? Like, that's where it lives. That's what it's into. When temperatures in its mountain habitat drop below freezing, which it does regularly, the macaque monkeys go and they lounge in hot springs, natural hot springs. And it was so funny because I actually didn't know any of this until I went to Central Park Zoo in Manhattan. They have a giant hot tub. It's just a giant hot tub full of macaque monkeys. And they really do. They just sit there all day and they soak in their hot tub and they pick, you know, the bugs out of each other's hair and stuff. They're the cutest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm like, monkeys are hit or miss for me, but I love a macaque monkey. And I especially love that they're taking over Germany right now. I think that's great. And finally, so starlings, European starlings. By the way, that's not in this book, but European starlings, they're invasive here in America. They're all over the place. And the reason that there are starlings here from Europe is that a group of Shakespearean actors, of thespians in New York, were in Central Park and they were like, we wish we were here writing our plays and rehearsing under the same conditions that Shakespeare wrote these plays. So they brought European starlings into America, and that small population of birds has in Central Park has since exploded. So all the starlings in America are kind of descendants from that. Like, I think, oh God, I don't remember. I think it was like 20 birds or something. It was not a lot of, or no, maybe it was like 100 birds. It was not a lot of birds because now there are like millions of them. And they wreak havoc. But here's something that's cool. They're also incredibly smart and they mimic really well. And they know how to use herbs to protect their babies from lice. So the male starling will go out while they're building the nest and he will find vegetation that he knows is anti-lice. And he lines the little nest with it to keep the lice out and protect his babies. Isn't that crazy? Like, he literally just knows, yep, that's the one I need to keep the lice away. He went down to the bird version of CVS. He picked up that herb and he lined his little nest with that. And that is the book of useless information. Useless information. All right, let's see what we got here. Caterpillars. Okay, yeah, let's check in over there. Where's my caterpillar camera? There we go. Caterpillars. All right. Oh, what are you doing? Hold on. There's no way. What are you up to? I think he's literally building his cocoon right now. I think that's what we're seeing. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. I can't believe we turned to it. Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's happening. So that guy that's spinning around a lot right now, we just caught the very tail end of him making that thing. That was the craziest thing ever. I didn't even know he was back there doing that. Holy cow. Okay, so here's the thing. That one that's a cocoon right now, he was not a cocoon this morning. He was just looking pretty cocoon-y. He was an upside-down J shape all night long. And then as soon as I turned to the camera just now, boom, spinning. That, I can't believe this. I don't even know what to do. I'm in shock. We just saw a cocoon get spun around live on the air, folks. That was so nuts. Okay. I don't even know what to do. Like, there's no way to even make that any better. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the caterpillars, they're going to be cocoons today. And I ought to say that I called it. Now, they waited until the very last day, but I did say we'd have cocoons by the end of this week. I'm just still so in shock. I can't even believe what I just saw. That was the craziest thing ever. I loved it. And now he's just straight up a full cocoon. Oh, that's absolutely wild. That was amazing. I am so glad you were here for that. I'm so glad you guys got to see that too. All right, I think that's how we're going to end it then. I'm going to actually turn it on over to the fish, and I'll keep the caterpillars in it too for your 3 minutes of fish, just because I want to see if they're going to do anything else really cool. So, have a great day. Don't forget, check out Patreon, patreon.com/nightcatshow. go download the Nightcat Radio podcast. The audio from this show, all of the Nightcat YouTube channel shows, as well as the brand new true crime episodes are all dropping today. We got a new episode of Morning Mews today. I dropped the new Nightcap with Nightcat yesterday, and there's a new Curiosity Killed Nightcat as well. So you got tons of podcast content to look at. But for now, I think it's time for us to just look at some butterfly content. What do you say? Here's the caterpillars. Oh, it's too cool. Too cool.